Hello and welcome back to How to Be a Terminal Pro. This is Jesse Shaw, and in this video we'll explore finding files and finding text within files. So we can go ahead and open up the terminal here. And I have created a directory for us that has everything laid out nicely. So I have a bunch of text files, I have doc files, I have a directory here. We'll be searching for things within here. So we can search for files by using the command find. And it takes a few arguments. The first argument is the name of the directory that you would like to search. So I'm going to put a dot to search our current directory, which is search here. But you could just as easily type in tilde sites or whatever directory you want to search. So do find dot, and then we'll just look for those files that happen to be a file. So if I hit enter after that, it just finds all of the files recursively through this directory. So it looks in dir and it finds a bunch of files there, and then it finds all the files up here. But it can also just look for names. So I can go to find and then type in name and then just the name of whatever we want. So I can look for newest file and it finds it right there. Or I can look for all of the files that end in .txt. So I use a star to represent any character that matches that, and then txt. So it just returns all of my txt files. Again, it's looking recursively, so in dir and just in the current directory that we are. We can also do a case insensitive search by just adding an I to name here. And if we do that, it would return files if we had a capital T or a capital X in our txt extension there. Okay, we can also find files by size. So we can type in find in this location size, and then we'll use plus for finding all those files which have a size greater than, and I'm going to type in 2048 here, which stands for 2048 512 byte blocks. So that sounds kind of confusing, but this just means it's going to look for files greater than 1 megabyte. So the number, whatever you put here, is just the number of 512 byte blocks. So I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it just returns these two files, which happen to be pretty big. Can also search for files that are smaller than a certain size by using minus, and it finds all of those but excludes big file and file6.txt, which happen to be greater than 1 megabyte. And we can also find files by the time of their modification, creation, or last access date. So to show you what I mean, I can find in this location those files which have a modification time of less than 1 day old. So I hit that, and then I get all of these files that were created within the last, were modified within the last day. I can also do +1 to say files that were modified more than a day ago, and I get nothing because all of these files were created today. I can also do a time, which is the last access time, but we'll do a minus. So for all of the files that were accessed within the last day, and I get all of those. Or I can do C time, which is when the files were created. So if I had created these files maybe like 20 days ago, but the last access was just today, I can find all of those using just -a time. Okay, we can also combine some of these conditions by using and or operators. So I can say find in this location those files which have a case insensitive match of anything.txt, or they have a name ending in something.doc. So this will look for all of the text files and all of the .doc files within my current directory. So I hit enter, and it returns just those, all of the txt and doc files. But I could also say, and mtime is less than 1 day old. So the last modification date is within 1 day of me pressing find here now. Okay, and the last thing that we can do is exclude directories from our search. So I can say find in this location those things which end in .txt, and I get a bunch of results here. So I have fourth.txt, which is in my search here directory, but then a level down I have file 1 through 6, so I want to get rid of those. So I can pass an option to find, which is prune. But to do that, I'll say or dash iname, and then the name of the directory that you want to exclude, and then dash prune. So whenever I hit this, it will return two things. It returns a dir because it matched this condition here, and it returns fourth.txt because it matches this condition here. So to get rid of it printing out a dir, we don't really care about that because there was nothing to look in there to find. We just need to put in dash print over here after the first one. So dash print is implied for all of these unless you specify one at the beginning. So for this one, it decided to print this part, or this condition that was satisfied, as well as the a dir prune condition that was satisfied. So since we're putting print up front here, we'll just hit enter, and then it only returns fourth.txt. So that is pretty cool. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to show you is how to search files for content. And we can do that by using the command grep. So the way that grep works, it takes two arguments. You can do grep and then the expression that you want to match. So I'd like to do hello. We'll do a capital H here, and then just the name of the file. So I have a file, and then I hit enter, and it returns the line of the file that it matched. I can also do a case insensitive search by passing an option to grep, namely -i, and it will return the same thing. Or I can just get a file listing, or the names of the files that are returned by grep, rather than the lines themselves, by using the option L. So I hit enter, it gives me a file. I can also look across a bunch of files by using star, hitting enter. So it found 3 different files that have hello in it, either a lowercase or a capital H hello. And I can also search recursively through my current directory. So I get a dir file2.txt that has hello in it, and also a file, a third, and fourth.txt. However, we can't recursively grep and specify the type of file. So to show you what I mean, we have this command here, which is doing a case insensitive search for hello, and we'll just list the names of the files that has that string in it, and it's looking recursively. But if I just want to search for text files, so maybe just pull out these two here, a dir /file2.txt and fourth.txt, if I try to do that, it won't work. It will only show in my current directory. So in order to get that recursive bit working, we need to use find again. And we'll pass another parameter to find. So we can say find in my current location, name, all of those things that end in txt, and then we'll pass this along to grep using exec, -exec. And then grep, and then the same bit that we used up here, except without the recursive part. So il, and then the name of the string that we want to search. So to look for the string hello within those files returned by find, and then we just need a placeholder for those files returned by find, and then we just need to escape the semicolon here. And whenever we hit enter, we should get a dir /file2.txt and fourth.txt. And there it is. So that's pretty cool. All right, so next time we will talk about managing file permissions. I'll see you then.